I'll tell it. We're not going to sugarcoat anything anymore. We've been quiet long enough. Can I get an amen?
Amen!
All right. Well, I'll put it to you this way. We are the biggest selling female group ever. 10 million albums worldwide. We have worked very hard. We have been in this business for 5 years. And we are broke as broke can be.
Okay, so by now, we've all heard about 360 deals in music, right? I did a bit more digging, and it's even crazier than I thought. So, you know how bands, groups, and artists used to just get paid for selling CDs and stuff? Well, now it's all about streaming, concerts, merch, basically everything an artist does. And that's where these 360 deals come in. Think of it like this. A record label used to just be your banker for recordings. They'd give you money to make an album, help you get it out there, and then you'd split the money from the sales. But now, with how much music is streamed for free or super cheap, labels aren't making as much just from that. So they're like, okay, if we're going to invest in you and make you a big star, we want a piece of everything you do. It's not just your songs anymore. It's your concert tickets, your t-shirts. Even if you get a commercial deal or a movie role, they want a cut of all that action.
When you sign a record deal, because it's corporate money, they spend a lot of money and a lot of people get paid, and you don't really have too much margin. But everybody gets paid, but the artist. And the artist is cool with that because that's the commercial for them to go make their money selling their merch, which is their t-shirts, and make their money from their show. Now, you can't, I own your ass on the road and your clothes, and also every time you make money from endorsements. So you actually telling someone to give up their whole entire behind. And they shouldn't. And I've watched them trick people into thinking that after they built their foundation and they have their show, and all the exposure is done, that they need them to go to the next level and then have them sell their whole entire behind away. 360, whole 360 degrees of your ass, pause, away, just because of a trick. And now you gotta ask a person, or you have to say things like, the label lets me do this and that. Like when you say, somebody can never say, an artist is signed to me. That doesn't sound correct to me. I have partnerships with people, which I've always done. I believe a man should always be able to be a man. Pause. So I do 50-50 ventures no matter what. I never do, I sign you, I own you. I don't do that. The mentality doesn't sound right. People accepting that doesn't sound right. People being proud of that doesn't sound right. It's aggravating. Maybe because I'm aware and no one else is.
But here's where it gets really tricky, and why artists can actually end up broke even when they're supposedly famous. You get a big chunk of money up front, which seems cool, but that's just an advance against your future earnings. Until you recoup or pay back that advance, you don't get a penny of your actual profit. And because the label is taking a percentage of everything, it takes a lot longer to pay them back.
All right, this is how a group can sell 10 million records and be broke. And everyone, get ready to do your math. When we first started out, we were kind of cocky. Okay, there are 100 points on the album. TLC had 7. Every point is equal to 8 cents. All right? 7 times 8, 56 cents. But as time went on, we learned a lot. That means every time an album gets sold, TLC gets 56 cents. So 10 million records, $5.6 million. Seems like a lot of money. Well, it's not a lot of money when the record company has spent $3 million to record your album. And in the record business, we pay all costs back to the record company. We pay recording costs, video costs. So now we have $2.6 million left. Well, guess what? When you have that much money, you're in about the 47, 48, 49% tax bracket. So that immediately gets deducted to $1.3 million. Then you split the rest 3 ways. You got about $300,000 a piece, if that much. Okay? $300,000. I can buy a nice house with that. And what am I gonna pay my bills with?
The cool part for artists, especially new ones, is that labels can be a massive help. They have all the connections, the marketing power, and the money to really launch someone's career. Imagine getting to record in a fancy studio, having your music promoted everywhere, and getting booked for huge tours. That's what a label can do for you. They're basically saying, we'll be your whole team, manager, publicist, tour organizer, everything. But here's the downside, and this is where it gets tricky. The artist can lose a lot of control. I read about how labels might even have a say in your social media or what kind of music you're allowed to make. Imagine someone telling you your song isn't radio friendly enough and making you change it. Or if you're a super creative person, you might not want someone telling you what to do with your art.
Getting on the record label thing. Seen Steve Stout the other day say, how dare record labels actually pay you for your image? Then they own the image and they make you pay them back for that actual
That's
image.
crazy, man.
Like
Your likeness.
Yo, you know something? Laws in music need to change.
Yeah.
Wow. Laws in music?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Record labels, we need to change the laws in record labels.
Because what was
remember,
it?
I
think that
changed.
conversation is a private conversation. That's not a conversation that need to be on social media and raise awareness and all that punk shit. Because that ain't nothing but.
But right now, the conversation should be had. You know why?
Yeah, with people that need to hear it.
Because you know why? I'm gonna tell you. Right now, even calling the actual master a master. Just think about that. That's some slave shit right there.
I'm in a slave. Nigga, Warner Brother got my YouTube hostage. I ain't been assigned to Warner Brothers since fucking 2013. Wow. But these niggas got me in a slave contract, a 360. This when I was knowledgeable.
Wow.
The fact, like I never want to fuck with YouTube for the fact that they ran my page. I couldn't even run ads on my shit, get money on my shit, nothing, because they got it. So niggas was hindering me from growing as an artist. That's what made me go to EDM and this, that, and the third. To this day, I'm fighting them. Like I'm damn near about to try to sue them right now. Like I ain't even want to do that. It's the point like, yo, my nigga, I don't even want that kind of energy. I'm not putting no music out. I'm not doing nothing. Why the fuck do y'all got my music? You know what I'm saying? I was I did a deal with Warner Chappell as well. I had a
publishing.
A pub deal. I had a commitment deal. That's like a slave deal.
Give me the blunts.
You know what I'm saying? But guess what Warner Chappell do? Niggas so gangster, like, yo, you know what? Basically, niggas respect the legacy. Yo, we gonna terminate the contract.
Warner Chappell's good people.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Warner Chappell go, what the fuck's up with Warner Brothers?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I didn't know that.
That's some cocksucker shit. Y'all niggas holding niggas YouTube that ain't signed y'all.
You gotta remember the modern day music industry was built by the mob.
All right.
By the Italian mafia, most part. Modern day music business. And it still persists. Yeah.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Labels can also spend a ton of money on things, sometimes even stuff you might not think is necessary, like super extravagant music videos or fancy marketing campaigns. And guess who's eventually on the hook for those costs? You are. They deduct all those expenses from your earnings before you see any money. So they might spend $500,000 on a video, and that $500,000 comes out of your share first, while they're getting a percentage of all your income. The percentage you get from things like streaming is often super, super small. Think about it. Millions of streams might only make a few dollars, and then the label takes their cut from that. So even if your song is played everywhere, you might not be making much actual cash. And get this, some artists, especially older ones who are already famous, totally avoid these deals. They're like, nah, I can do all this myself and keep all my money. But for a fresh face, it can seem like the only way to break through.
It's a double-edged sword, you know. A lot of artists aren't getting paid full scale for their art, and the internet, because of downloading and things like that, is kind of like a black hole, and it's hard to audit, it's hard to get accounting, and it's not that it's just about the money, but it's about justice and fairness. And when people say that they love you and they respect you, but at the same time take, you know, 80% of your earnings, then expect you to fix your own communities, and they'll probably edit all of this out, but then it gets, that's the sharp part of the sword, and we're at the wrong end of it right now. So eventually, with courageous people going out there and actually saying something and standing up for it. I think we'll get some balance.
These deals can last for years and years, sometimes even for multiple albums. So, even if you become a huge success, you're locked into giving the label a big chunk of your money for a long time. It's like being in a long-term contract where you're always trying to catch up.
So, speaking and talking about what helps the WNBA, a league which I think should make a lot more money, I also think that's very much the same in rap. We've heard about the 360 deals all this time, and I think, maybe some of that has changed, maybe not, I don't know.
I've been in the same contract when I first signed since 2009, all the way to last year, September, 2020, September, which was like a rookie contract, you know what I'm saying? For like 10 plus years. 11. Wow. Yeah, 11. And then I was in a 360, so I never seen no money off none of I sold like 26 million records. You feel me? And I ain't never seen $1 off the motherfuckers, you feel me? So I finally just got out my deal. Now I'm owning my shit, you feel me? So like all my shit I'm finna put out, from now, I own it, so I better make money. But like my shit happening, like it was just a weird situation. I was like fresh out of jail, didn't know nothing about the music business industry, and I started moving around with the people I was moving around with who ain't really know nothing about the industry. And you feel me, the first situation that got, you feel me, presented, it was like, nah, we gotta do it, fuck that. You feel me? And I'm like, nah, I gotta have my lawyer, like my mama supposed to be here, my mama ain't even here, this shit don't feel right, like, you feel me? So I went into a situation, signing some shit, that shit all come back to like, you feel me, being educated about, you feel me, the business, you know what I'm saying? So I felt like the change been happening because you got motherfuckers that niggas grew up to, like Jay-Z's and all these niggas who in they raps, you feel me, they been talking about this shit, like, nigga, we ain't throwing no 360s, nigga, we owning our shit, whoop, wop. You got motherfuckers like Nipsey Hussle, you feel me, came up on the same wave, like, you feel me, that was my boy, so like, we used to talk all the time. And like, he had just got out of his, like, type of deal that I was in, you feel me, so he used to be telling, like, man, fuck all that, we ain't doing none of that, you feel me, we gotta do it like this. And what you was saying, ownership.
Sometimes, labels aren't super clear about where all the money is going, or how they're calculating your share. It's like they're managing your bank account, but they don't always show you all the receipts.
You know, my manager saw my record deal and said, this is a shitty record deal. I would never say that though, because why, it was an opportunity, I could work my way out of anything.
And when you say management, you're not saying Rock Nation?
Yeah, I'm saying Rock Nation.
Okay, Rock Nation, okay.
Yeah, who actually he hooked me up with, I'm saying Rock Nation. I'm saying Jay Brown. Said it was the worst deal he'd ever seen.
Wow.
And this man, I had to spend my own money auditing my label because millions of dollars are missing, and you could tell when millions of dollars are missing.
Of course.
Right?
Yes. You should be.
I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on my label, thinking Universal owed me this money, and the money had been paid to good music. So let me ask you before we finish. No, let me ask you, bro.
Yeah.
If somebody owed you $500,000, how would you feel?
Yeah.
No, listen. How would you feel?
I would feel fucked.
And they was up 100 million. How would you feel?
Yeah, crazy.
What if they owed you $1 million?
Yeah.
What if they owed you $3 million?
Right.
Okay, what if they owed you $5 million?
Right.
What if they owed you $6?
No,
listen.
Okay.
What if they owed you that, bro?
Right. I understand.
And you showed up for them and you did all these things, right?
Right.
And they up billions.
Right.
That's why having a good lawyer who knows how to audit their books is so important. So, you can be a famous artist selling out arenas, having your song streamed millions of times, but if the label's expenses are high, and they're taking a big cut of everything, and you're still recouping your advance, you might actually have very little money left over. It's a sad truth that some artists who are household names end up with surprisingly little in their bank accounts because of these kinds of deals.
You know, right now, if I get a loan for my business, right? I got an idea, I have a business. You give me a loan to start my business, I get it going, boom, I pay you back. I walk with my business, I walk as the owner of the business, the CEO and all that, right? If I get in the music business, all you're doing is giving me a loan, you be in the bank. You know what I'm saying? You're giving me a loan to produce my music, distribute my music, right? But once I pay the loan back, I don't own the rights to my music. I don't own my masters. So that's a bad deal right there for me. If you really sit back and like, wait a minute, hold up. Wait, you gave me the money. I done made you the money back, probably 15 times over. Well, why don't I own my masters? Why don't I own my likeness? That's a bad deal. Show me another business model like that.
It's a real reminder that being famous doesn't always mean being rich. So, it's a huge decision for artists. On one hand, you get a massive boost in support from a big company. On the other, you might be giving up a lot of your freedom and a big chunk of your earnings for a really long time.
When Drake got the $500 million, everybody's like, Drake got $500 million. I'm like, so when Universal gives him, when they gave him $500 million, I was like, oh, they set him up. He don't even know it, because I know how they gave it to him. I know how it works. When they give you a check, what does a check equal? More work. They gave you a $500 million. So now, remember Drake dropped an album every 2 years? He started dropping the album every 9 months. That's how he burnt himself out.
I probably won't make music for a little bit. I'm gonna be real with you. I need to focus on my health first and foremost.
So remember, he dropped the record with 21 Savage. He dropped it, if you're reading this, it's too late. He dropped all these albums, and then he announced, I'm burnt out. That was because they gave him $500 million and said, we'll give you $500 million, but we need more records. And he's like, cool, not realizing they giving you a loan on money that they gonna make from you any way. So in a lot of ways with him suing him, I'm like, you suing him for the wrong reasons. If I'm being honest, you suing him about Kendrick, you don't even know. Artists do not know how, any artists listen to this, they do not know how much their catalogs worth because they keep getting advances for more catalogs.
It's like, do you want to be a superstar with a lot of partners, or a slightly less famous artist who calls all the shots and keeps more of the pie? It's a lot to think about, right? So with that being said, did I miss anything?